Gryfall.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brooks Knows Baseball. We are through with our 30 for 30 breakdowns of the American League East, and today we are taking on the Central Division. We head up to the Windy City with Chicago, headed to Southside, I believe, with the Chicago White Sox. Now, if we take a look at the White Sox, they have made the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years. Last year, they finished 11 games behind, just at
Wait a minute,
500.
can you hear it? Can you hear it? Oh, that was them last year blowing up. But go ahead.
Um, we 2 of the last 3 years, they made the playoffs. They haven't really advanced anywhere recently. They did win a World Series in 2005, but before that, the last time they won a World Series was 1917. So it's been quite a while for Chicago. They don't make the playoffs that often. Since they won the World Series, they've only made it 3 times, and again, 2 of those have been in the
Can I
last
ask
three
you a
years.
question?
Go ahead.
How come they wear black socks if they're White Sox? It's a good question.
It's a good question.
We should call the team and ask them. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, taking a look again, that's a little bit of history of the White Sox. John, go ahead and let's jump right on into it. I think at this point, people know this spiel and how we go about it, so feel free.
Well, the first thing you got to realize they got a new manager, Pedro Gryfall. He was with KC from 13. Bench coach, I guess he's a former catcher. Hopefully he has good luck turning them around because they may still be the most talented team in the division, but then again, Minnesota's really talented. But I was studying them, and they had a lot of guys that don't hit. Their on base percentage stinks. They have a lot of guys that are consistently hurt. And Tim Anderson told everybody he just bored or didn't like play baseball much anymore. So it was apparent last year with him. But anyway, on to their key arrivals. They got Andrew Benintendi. I like that. Left-handed hitting outfielder. He closed up with the Yankees where he didn't hit much for. But Benintendi is good fielder, good arm. I'm just looking down at my notes here because I write a lot of notes. But he has no power.
You're Benintendi, right?
Yeah, and he doesn't strike out much. But
and he's a superb fielder.
Yeah. They got right-handed pitcher Mike Clevenger from San Diego because he missed season 2 years ago or most of it for Tommy John. Mm-hmm. And but is he going to even be available? He's got some off-field troubles.
I'm a big Clevenger fan.
Oh, absolutely. He's a tough guy. He's the kind of guys. He's one of those guys who believe if you need to move someone back, he's your man.
Yes.
And Jacksonville's finest. But they got Gregory Santos, pitcher, right-handed pitcher from the Giants. He didn't pitch much with them. They got Victor Reyes, the outfielder, free agent they signed from Detroit. I might need you to look at his numbers up. Then they got a Rule 5 guy, Nick Avila. Rule 5 guys, that's tough,
Yeah. He'll be there, though. We know that.
Maybe. But that's pretty much for their additions. Oh, they brought back recently in the last week or so, they signed Elvis Andrus, who may end up being their second baseman.
Yeah, Elvis he's been playing for what seems like 15, 20 years now.
But you know what? When I was looking up their lineup and I plugged him in at second, you realize he still batted .249 last year. He's going to be 35 during the season. He hit 17 home runs last year. That's an uptick for him. 58 RBIs and 35 at bats. So his on base percentage is only .303 and .707 OPS. But there are other. Well, we'll get to that when we get to positions. But I think that's pretty much it for any acquisitions that I know of.
Yeah. So moving on from there, we'll just jump right into their bullpen, or not their bullpen, their starting rotation. I think they have arguably a top 5 pitching rotation. When everyone's healthy, everyone's on. We got Dylan Cease, Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, Michael Kopech, who's my breakout candidate for the year, and then Mike Clevenger. If he can't play
Who's going to fulfill in that spot?
Good question.
The darn good question.
Well, let's see the guy new
You know
prospects maybe
what?
coming up.
It could be Davis Martin, rookie they brought up last year, left-hander.
Could be Sean
Oh,
Burke
I'm
too.
sorry, he's a right-hander. I'm sorry, he's a right-hander. He bats left-handed because he got 9 starts last year. He 129 WHIP for a rookie's not bad. 483 ERA, that's
Yeah.
kind of high, but he might be the man until Clevenger straightened out his problems.
Yep. And
But you can't mention a rotation without really focusing on Dylan Cease, man.
he's the superstar. You know, he's young. He's only 27 years old, which is crazy to think about. But he's
Yeah,
super productive.
yeah,
You
he
know,
was
32 games last year. He pitched 184 innings, which is pretty solid. It's really
2.22 ERA or something is really low.
2.20 ERA. And
His
that's
WHIP's
big.
low too.
Yeah, he's good. You know he's going to start. He started 64 games in the last 2 years combined. So he pitches, which is good.
Well,
It's a
I want
history now one for him.
I agree, and his year before wasn't bad either.
He's
But I
just been
want to
getting
mention one
and
thing
better.
for all our followers. I always mention WHIP, and I'm assuming most of you know what that is. That's your walks and hits per inning. That's important, I believe, because if you don't put them on base, they can't score. So
Correct.
I look at that. I don't always look at the ERA as much as I do the WHIP because I just think if you don't put them on, in win-loss record, I don't look at because some teams. I mean, there's some good pitchers out there with crappy records because they don't have any help. You
Yep.
know. Um,
Has DeGrom ever been a 20-game winner?
Pardon me.
Has DeGrom ever been a 20-game winner?
He's not healthy enough to pitch in 20 games, probably.
True.
No, I know his win loss. You know, he's pitched for a while now. Heck, I remember he's a rookie, but always liked him. And yeah, like you said, he don't have a lot of wins and losses. Don't know what the reason is, but the Mets up until recently haven't been much of a team. And now the Rangers, I think Rangers are going to give him some wins though.
Yeah. Take a look at our article we published yesterday. You know what I think of the Rangers.
Yeah.
But yeah, after Dylan Cease, you know, we do have, let's see, we got Lance Lynn.
Yeah, he started off kind of
everywhere.
bad last year and then came back around. But
Yeah.
I'd rather get on Lucas Giolito. What happened? You know, he looked like he was the stuff, man. I was so upset when Washington traded him to Chicago. I was like, are you crazy, you know,
It
for
worked out
Adam
for
Eaton?
it worked out for the Nationals though.
They got
They
a
got
World
a guy
Series.
who's they won the World Series. So
Adam Eaton was a scrappy dude, man. It's a shame he doesn't play anymore, but he was something. His numbers didn't see. But numbers aren't always the tell-all stat. I mean, thing because you take a guy like Eaton, you know, he was a hell of a ball player. I mean,
for sure.
Bader on New York, you know, the guy you don't like, your team you don't like, but I think he's a hell of a ball player. But the numbers don't show it. I mean, there's a lot of guys like that, you know. Eric Burns when he played, you know. Go back to the John Lowenstein and Gary Renicky, and people go, who? Well, for the Orioles, when they won the World Series last, you know, they were productive players. They platooned, but you know, they didn't put the biggest numbers, but they were winners. You know, Cal Ripken didn't have the best numbers year after year, and he was a winner when he had some help, but then it went away, and then it got bad. But anyway, lots of players like that.
Giolito always seemed like a guy to me. His peaks and valleys. You know, he's so hot and cold. You can watch some games. He looks like this superstar, but he has a funky motion too. Like I always feel like he kind of like almost hides the ball a little bit, and it's always looked odd to me.
Well, in my studies, it said his changeup and his slider have lost their sharpness last year, and that's probably why.
Old, so that's really concerning.
Yeah, let's see. He's a safe bet for 30 starts, and maybe he'll bounce back. You know, but he's only really had one really good year, hasn't he?
Yeah,
He's a potential guy, you know, but he's not, you know.
Well, back in that time, the Nationals were developing pitchers, I remember, at an unreasonable rate, and they got rid of him. And he was the number one prospect. Wasn't he the number one prospect at the time?
I believe he was, yeah. But you look at everybody they got rid of, with the exception of, what is it, Reynoso?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's still productive, but they didn't really hurt him as much as I thought it would. And one more thing about Giolito, I did see his mother on old Frasier rerun the other day. But anyway, she's the actress, But anyway, that's not important.
Then he's 28. We'll see. It's if he doesn't have a good year this year, I don't see why they would even bring him back. He's
Because
going
I'm
to be
sure
one of
they're
those.
paying him big money.
I think he's going to end up being a journeyman kind of guy if he doesn't really come up this year. But moving on to the next guy, someone I'm very high
Kopech.
on. Who?
Kopech?
Not quite. He's next. I'm very high on Kopech too, but I'm also very high on Mike Clevenger. He's in spring training right now. No issues have happened. I mean, obviously issues have happened off the field, but as far as on the field, nothing's been affected.
Wait a minute. You said obviously issues. We don't know that they happened. They're alleged.
Yeah, alleged issues off the field.
Let's hope it's not true.
Yeah, I hope not for his sake. Sunshine, he's a very colorful character with his pigtails and his tattoos everywhere. And one thing I would really liked him after the Astros scandal, wherever you stand on the Astros scandal, and during the lockout season, he said, "When I face the Astros, that's why. Then I'm going to censor myself. It's great to throw hard as." And he just.
Let me ask you this. I know we're supposed to talk to Chicago, but I got to put this in there. When we bring up the Astros, okay? Not my favorite team, but I don't dislike them. I kind of like them. But if you'll go back and check the stats for the year they allegedly were cheating, along with a couple other teams, and won the league, that falls into that tangent you went on the other day. Remember that particular team from the Evil Empire? Suppose there's some kind of envelope that was telling all that they were cheating with, but they wouldn't get it opened or let it be opened so they couldn't get in trouble. You remember that?
Yeah.
But anyway, my point was, real quick, that if you'll look back, when Houston was on the road that year, they had a better win-loss record than they did at home. So if
all
they
I
were
would say, and then we're going to move on. Look at Marwin Gonzalez that year and every other year of his career.
Well, look at Altuve. He was a 300 hitter last year. It didn't hurt him.
Altuve is always a 300 hitter. But anyway, Mike Clevenger. So, Mike, before, I guess he missed all of 21. He pitched started 23 games last year, so he had a decent 114 innings. But going back to 2020, he had a 3.0. Year before that, 2.7. Year before that, 3.0. Year before that, 3.1. He's a very, very, very good pitcher. He's hit 200 innings before. He's had over 200 strikeouts in seasons before, and he's got a very. What do you think his windup? Because he's always like bouncing on the mound there. Do you think it's going to have any effect with the pitch clock?
It may. It's going to. I don't know. A lot of these guys I'm hearing, the younger pitchers that had it in AAA said that you get used to it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And it just. Anyway,
if he's on, he's gonna be a huge pickup for them. Huge pickup.
Well, yeah, and then, If he's like he was, yeah.
Hopefully, for his sake, everything works out. I'd love to see him pitch. Hopefully not do well against the Twins, but he probably will because he does good against most people.
Well, they said his strikeout rate since 19s went from 33.9 to 18.8.
He's over 32. So in pitchers, hopefully his velocity. If his velocity starts going, then the pitching usually starts going too. Not too many guys you'll find who lose that velocity but continuously get the results. I feel like if you can throw it 97, you're going to throw it 97, and you're going to rely on that fastball.
Right
if
now,
it gets cut down. Maybe you don't have a good curveball. Maybe you don't have a good secondary pitch, anything like that.
Do you realize Lance Lynn didn't start off so good? I mentioned that earlier, but in his last 9 starts, he had a 2.09 ERA. He got back to himself because he had knee surgery last.
But then, we'll move on to the projected 5th starter. He's hurt right now. He will not be ready until at least the second week of the season. He's actually one of my breakout picks for the year. Michael Kopech, former top prospect. He's really had a very odd career. You look at him, he's supposed to be a superstar starter. He's a famous girlfriend. Didn't he date one of those, that reality TV, Croy Bierman's girlfriend, like stepdaughter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see Croy and his wife just filed for bankruptcy recently? But anyway.
Well, that's what happens. But
Hey, we touch everything, man. We're going to be
We're gonna
like
start
TMZ.
a new E Hollywood channel. That's our pop culture. We're gonna talk about TVs and sitcoms and such. But um,
Okay, I know a lot about old TV shows. I'm good.
yeah,
Okay,
we'll talk here. But yeah, with Kopech, it's very odd. He started 4 games his rookie year for Chicago after coming over from Boston. 14 innings, don't really count it. Then next year they took him out of the starting rotation. Really, he had 44 appearances, but only 4 starts, 69 innings. He had a 3.5 ERA, which is not bad in a short role. I felt like at that time in 21, he looked more to me like they're going to put him as a closer, just because he's high velocity, everything. He did go viral for hitting a 110 on the gun. Now he crow hopped, but he still hit 110 on the gun,
right.
which is impressive. That video is actually up on our website under the articles tab. Be sure to go ahead and check that out. But last year he started 25 games, had a 3.5. So I think, for his sake, I'm hoping he takes that next step and elevates it. Get him some wins. Let's try to get him 150 innings. Hopefully, he can get
Yeah, could
150 or more.
average 5 innings a start last
Yeah,
year
his 119 innings, not good.
in 20.
He's got to stretch it out. So hopefully, we see 150 innings. With his injuries, and I know he had shoulder and knee surgery. I think nothing crazy. They said it's not really hindering anything. He's ready to get back out, but he's one of those guys too. You're just sitting by waiting for this potential to get realized, and it hasn't really been realized yet.
Going to be a Giolito
Yeah, are going to be.
because I mean they're not getting any
Yeah,
younger.
he's 27 years old. Like I said, Giolito's 28, so it's now or never for him. And I think that's the biggest issue with the White Sox. There's just it's not coming together for whatever reason. It's not coming together.
No, before last year, I thought they were going somewhere. But
They were World
going
Series
to their bull,
favorites at this early point of the season last year because they had
yeah,
Larusa. The game passed Larusa by, and I think it's pretty obvious. He has a lot of issues. I feel like with team, uh, not only say functionality, but like team cohesiveness. I feel like wasn't good under him. That's just the vibe I got outside looking in. Obviously, um,
well, maybe, but he at one time he was a great manager. So
no,
I'm
yeah,
not.
I just think the game passed him by.
Yeah, well, maybe,
Let's go ahead
but
and start on their
their bullpen.
yeah. One
Well, I think the biggest thing you got to say there,
Liam Hendricks,
uh, right? He's been
non-Hodgkin's
afflicted,
lymphoma, unfortunately.
right? So prayers for him. He's a tough dude too, Australian. I mean, he's a gunfighter, man. He's you can watch him pitch. He's all into it. So I'm hoping. I don't know the status. Hopefully he'll be able to come back. But you know, being a fan of one certain team, they had Trey Mancini. When he came back, he's never been the same. I mean, he's okay, but he's never been the same.
Yeah.
But hey, but he got back. Yeah, it's great. Trey's a good guy. But yeah, their bullpen. So I don't know who's going to end up
I'm saying
closing.
it's going to be Kendall Graveman, is what they're saying.
Oh yeah, and then yeah, they get their bullpen. They hit Aaron Bummer. Uh, he did good, a left-hander.
Yeah.
He's been there a few years
Joe
now.
Kelly's there.
Garrett Croquette's coming back.
Yeah, come off of Tommy John. He had it less than a year ago. So is he full go now or?
Yeah, I'm hearing he's going to come back this year. And then, like you said, you got Kendall Graveman, Joe Kelly, Everyday Joe. You know, Joe's getting a little old.
Yeah. He's fiery though.
30.
Speaking of fiery players.
Oh,
He
he's
looks like a
definitely
big
fiery.
nerd with his glasses on, but
I wouldn't tell him that though. Smack you. Yeah, I remember years ago when he said he's going to win the Cy Young when he was a starter, but that never happened.
no.
But yeah, he's tough. You got to respect him. But his numbers dying out. I mean, he had 6.08 ERA last year in 43 games.
Yeah, I think that's going to hurt him a little bit as well. Losing Hendricks, he's I'd say top end closer as well is going to hurt him. Maybe
You know who else could be the closer? Was it Reynoldo?
Lopez.
Yeah, that's the guy I'm thinking of. He was 2.76 ERA, 61 games, but he was their closer at one point. So maybe he'll just have to take that role back over till
Well, there's definitely
Hendricks.
some questions in there. Let's go ahead and start on their catcher, which we got Yasmani Grandal, who's a young guy who hit a solid 202 last year.
Okay, I got some notes on him. I like him. I liked him as a
Yeah.
player, but he hit a 202. His OBP was 301. His OPS was 570. He had a whopping 5 home runs and 327 at bats.
Yeah.
Moving on. So, he's not much on the
He
defense.
can't hit.
He's in he
Wait,
can't hit.
wait. Sorry. If he sucks in defense and he sucks in offense, why the hell is he there?
Well, he's got the last year of his contract. He analytically, he is the worst starting catcher in baseball last year.
I could easily see that. He's terrible. He's a terrible player.
They got Zavala behind him. Now, he batted 270, no power, 178 at bats, 729 OPS, 347. So, he's a good framer. So he's going to have to take over, But now I heard that Grandal's been working his tail off to try to get back to some semblance of a good player.
Well, it's great because all these players, when they're 33 or 34, they learn all these new things. So I'm sure it'll happen.
Right. Yeah, I liked him. Do you know trivia question, do you know how he got to America? He was Cuban. His family won a lottery. And got to come to America. Next point.
No.
He
I'll
is.
say the brother-in-law of Manny, because who's Manny's brother-in-law?
Oh, Yonder. Yeah. Alonzo. He's on the baseball tonight.
Potatoes, same thing. Going on to first base, we have Jose Abreu. Oh, just kidding. We have Andrew Vaughn, who has huge shoes to fill.
Well, hey, that's his natural position. He's been playing in the outfield. He wasn't that, but he batted 271. I think he had 17 homers
last year, 138. He's a career 255
510 best. I think he's going to be fine.
I don't think he's not.
But he's not going to be. He's going to be the next Paul Konerko. And he had a hard hit rating of 48.6, which is pretty good. Yeah. I've seen him do some good things.
He's he's youngish for baseball.
And
moving on to second base, we have the guy who's been around forever. I think he played with Babe Ruth. We got Elvis Andrus, who surprisingly hit 17 home runs last year. Doesn't even have 96 home runs, or he doesn't have 100 home runs on his career. So he almost hit a quarter of them last year, which is crazy.
Well, they got another guy named Rami Gonzalez, and I was researching. They said he could get some time there. It's between Lurie Garcia, Rami Gonzalez. Gonzalez had a 24 home run season just 2 years ago and batted 283 between Double and Triple A.
Yeah.
He didn't do much up there. He only had 105 at bats. But anyway, that's
Elvis will get his 2,000th hit this year, which is pretty cool. He's his 15th year in the bigs. He started in 2009 when I was in middle school.
Well, can we move to shortstop now? Because I might have to cry.
We'll start with Yoan Moncada. Then we'll go to shortstop.
Okay. Who?
Yoan Moncada.
Who?
Super prospect who was supposed to be a superstar. Never panned out. He had a couple good years, I guess. But, he had one.
The best fielder on the team, but he's probably one of the worst hitters. He's like a 212 hitter last year, 12 homers.
One thing we're kind of noticing right now, their offense is not going to be that good. Elvis is not. Elvis is old.
That's what I was saying earlier. There's a lot of guys who don't play a lot. They don't get on base a lot. They don't hit for average, except for a couple guys.
Well, Grandal's a waste of space, so you might as well just have automatic out there. Moncada, he'd be lucky to get over the Mendoza line this year, which is what it is. Outfield, I think, is going to be good. I think they're DH when we get to him. I think he's a superstar if he can stay healthy. But yeah, after Moncada, there's not much to say about him. He was supposed to be a good player. He had one good year, really. Hit 315 with 25 home runs, 80 RBIs. Finished 21st in the MVP voting. You know what you're going to get with him. He's going to be 28. He's almost at that threshold. 28 should be in his prime, but he's been so
you're not going to get much.
Now, let's go take a look at Tim Anderson, who I want to say, before we start on Tim Anderson, everyone watching,
I love Tim Anderson.
Has a homoerotic relationship with Tim Anderson.
A man crush.
I'd say a little bit more than a man crush, but I will keep my mouth shut for this one. The floor is yours.
Thank you. All right. Okay. he had a bad year last year. Okay, saying that, he still batted 301, but he only had 332 at bats because he's hurt. But what breaks my heart, he's good offensively. There's no question he can run. And I used to think he could field when I watch it, but when I look at the numbers, he can't field. Number wise, he's a negative 16 defensive runs saved in his
Ouch.
career. So, okay, so let's go on
Wait,
to
wait. Wait a
outfield.
second. Let me put one. Um,
I'd still take him on my
don't you?
team.
Aren't
Okay.
you the one who always says, "Well, he's trending this way. He's trending this way." Every time we talk about players, he's trending this way. What would you say about a trend? You hit 335. Next year, you hit 322. Next year, you hit 309. Next year, you hit 301. It drops on top.
Hey, 4 years right, 300 hitter.
He's
That's what I would
is
say.
he going to hit 300 this year? No, he's not going to hit 300 this year.
Yes, he will. He'll hit
Where does
18 to
power
20
go?
homers. Well, he didn't play a lot. He was injured. Now he'll be good again. Hey, they know what he doesn't have any help around him.
He got Yohan Moncada, man.
Oh
He
yeah,
had
and Lourdes
so
Garcia
then this is
and
what I heard of.
Grandal.
Benintendi, people will pitch to Benintendi because you'll give him a single. You ain't gonna give him a home run to him, but 5 times a year.
I know.
Um,
Well, Anderson, if he's healthy and let him play all year, we'll see.
they don't have any boppers on this team. They don't have any guys who can hit
Yes, they
long
do.
dongs. But
Yes, they do.
um,
They get. Let's go to outfield real quick.
well,
Well,
are you done with Tim Anderson? Are you talking about how bad of a fielder
yeah.
he is?
No, I already said
Okay,
that. I don't
well,
want to harp. Let's not harp on that. Give the man a
let's
break.
talk about Benintendi, who I have. I was pretty fond of last year prior to the Yankees. He hit 304, massive power with 5 home runs. But Benintendi, he's a very, very good fielder.
Great
I think
fielder,
he's a very good
good
ball player.
arm,
He's a guy.
gets lots of walks. I went over that earlier, not to be rude, but remember when we talked about acquisitions?
Benintendi's a solid player. I like Benintendi.
All right, but I want to talk about Luis
Let's
Roberts.
talk about him.
I like him, but what's his problem? He can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
He's never played a whole year. He's got huge power, huge speed, but it doesn't have. You don't put up the numbers because you don't play.
Huge power.
Huh? Yeah, no, he's got huge power, but
100 games last
he
year,
don't get
12
to
home
use it.
runs is huge power to you.
How many at bats did he have?
100
He
games
had
with
300.
380 at bats. Huge power, 300 at bats, having 30 home runs like my boy Mitch Garver did a few years back. That's nice.
Okay, if when we did breakout players, we should have said him because if he's healthy, he'll hit 35 home runs. You just remember you heard it here. Go ahead and write it down.
Lock it in. You want to lock that in?
Lock that in. If he gets 500 plus at bats, he'll hit 35.
Now you can't change it after you locked it in.
And it's still 50 bases.
Wait. Wait, how many home runs?
He's fast.
So he's going to be a 30-30 guy. On pay, it could be a 40-40 guy.
If he's healthy, he could be the MVP this year.
Yeah, get out of here, man.
Yeah, sir. Hey, man, I like Cuban ball players. The guy's good.
Dinky Dow.
No. Hey, like I said, if he's healthy, he Ks a little too much, but big power, big speed. He's only going to be 26 this year, dude. He's just watch. See, the White Sox could turn around if these guys, any of them, stay healthy. I mean, now moving away from him, right field looks like it can be Gavin Sheets and probably platoon with Victor Reyes. They got for Detroit, but Gavin Sheets is a terrible fielder. He's a first baseman.
He's not. He has a little bit of power. Not really.
Now the good thing about him is he comes from great bloodlines. His dad's a fellow Virginian like me and you. His dad played for the Orioles, Larry Sheets from Stanton, Virginia, and he was
big.
He was a good hitter. Yeah, he 15 home runs and 377 at bats. So I seen him play in the minors.
Luis Robert has massive power. You got to say this dude has massive power.
Yeah, but I think he'll be a solid player, maybe. But he's a big K guy and no field. They're going to have to put him in. Who knows? Maybe would they be better off keeping Vaughn in the outfield and keeping Sheets at first? I think Sheets just needs to play. Honestly, I seen him play at AAA. I liked him.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm easily. I'm favor him because his dad was an Oriole. Yeah. But Victor Reyes, did you look up his numbers last year? I don't have them in front of me.
Victor Reyes.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I do have them in front of me.
While you're talking about Victor Reyes, let me go ahead and touch on a guy I'm pretty high on, but again, he can't stay healthy. Elroy Jimenez, who just
Oh yeah, I can touch on him too.
He's their only power hitter, big power hitter, I believe, but he can't stay healthy. He hasn't played more than 100 games since 19. Played 55, 55, and 84. He can't stay healthy. That's his problem.
Yeah, he
Things aren't going to
do you
change
know
either. You know.
do you know what his lifetime OPS is?
Yeah, I do.
831. 831.
He hit 295 last year, 54 by 6 runs limited time.
You know, can I change the subject a little bit? It's really funny we're talking about Chicago and I hear gunshots outside my house. But anyway, hear them?
No.
Hopeless fireworks. Okay. Or I might be getting off this show quickly.
Let's go
But
ahead.
yeah,
Is there anyone else going to talk about before I go ahead and touch on the minor league system?
well, yeah. Jimenez, like I said, he had a 358 OPS. On base percentage. I'm sorry. OPS was 858 last year, higher than his career. Still had 16 homers and 292 at bats. He could put up Lewis Robert type numbers this year.
What, play 35 games?
Okay, what I did want to knock out one thing that this team has always invested in Cubans way back since Minnie Minoso. You're a child, so you probably know who that is. But anyway, look it up, and all you fans look it up. Be a bonus star for you. Anyway, that was the first in a long list of Cubans they've had throughout the years. Moncada, their big rookie Oscar.
Jose Abreu.
Yeah, Lewis Robert, that superstar is coming. Anyway, but what I have to say, they're Marco Patty. He's their big scout. He was given the 2022 International Scout of the Year.
Yeah, I don't know how good that's going to work out for him, seeing as their prospect rankings.
Well, he just gets the international guys, the Cubans, and I think. Hey, let me ask you this: Jimenez, is he Cuban too? No, he's Dominican, isn't he?
He was traded though. They didn't draft him.
Well, would you take Robert on your team?
What position again?
What's
center field?
I know the answer.
Center field?
Anywhere. He's a Cuban. I'm not saying I'd take him on my favorite team, but hey,
I wouldn't take him.
Hey, let's don't get into Cedric Mullins. I fight for Cedric. He's my boy.
All right, so their prospect rankings are not good. They are 27th in the league.
I saw that, but at the top end, I thought, like this guy Colson Montgomery. I've been doing a lot of study on him. He got all the way to Double A, and he's only 21 last year. Probably, from what I understand, he'll probably start there this year. He's like a Cal Ripken and a Seager or somebody combined. He's got power and he's got bat control.
He was started in low A, hit 324, fantastic. High A, 258. Double A, 146. So as the level got higher, he got lower. His production.
That's true. Yeah. Well, how about then that Oscar Colas? Another Cuban, left-handed power, big arm. They say the next stop for him is going to be right field in Chicago.
Gotta be. He hit.
Man,
he didn't hit that good in AAA last year, though. He didn't hit good in AAA. He only hit 387 in AAA last year.
Yeah, poor guy. Can you imagine him and Robert in the same outfit? Oh my goodness! And Benintendi. I'm telling you, you're gonna shoot yourself because if you play fantasy baseball, you need to get him. Lewis Robert. Don't you? He was like one of the top prospects, and if he could stay healthy, the guy, I would take him. I would. Well, yeah, I'd take him. I'll take him.
All right, BKB fans, let's start a fund to get John a Lewis Robert jersey.
Okay.
And then, but again, we're talking about prospects. There's not much there.
How about Noah? Did you talk about Noah Schultz?
Little guy.
They say he's like Randy Johnson. He's like 6'9". Said he's got good command and polish already, but he's 19, so we ain't gonna see him for a while.
No, you're not gonna see a lot of these guys. And there's not much there.
I know. I was looking at their prospect list, and I gave up. I wrote down 3 names that impressed me, and after I said, "Well, that's enough."
Well, they had. I mean,
the third prospect that they had on the list, it was bad.
They have 2 guys in the top 100. So,
how many? For example, when you take a top farm system like Arizona or Baltimore, where would their top guys? They'd be lucky, except for Colas, to make the top 10 probably.
Yeah, well, I'm looking here. Let's just go to the Orioles, for instance. So that 38 and 85. Colson is 38. Oscar Colas is 85. So with the Orioles, that would be their third best prospect, and then like their seventh best prospect.
I don't
I'm
know if
higher
it
on Joey
would be
Ortiz
that high.
than this list I'm looking at is right now, but there's not much there, which is why.
Hey, Joey got an RBI today, but anyway.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about our projections for the White Sox. I do think there's talent there, but they don't put it together, and they haven't put it together. They get hurt a lot.
What if they stay healthy? They should break 500, right? With that.
That's a big if.
I mean,
They
that's a
haven't done
lot.
it. The guys we talked about,
That's a
they
lot of
don't do
ifs.
it.
I mean, if Kopech goes to the next level, which I don't see anything he's going to say is, and Lance Lynn, honestly, Lance Lynn's, yeah, and his knee broke down. He's kind of a big body kind of guy, if you know what I mean. So he may have more injuries like that as he gets older. Giolito, who knows? He's never really proven he's a stud. Cease, we know he is, but I don't know. I'm thinking be lucky to be 500.
Yeah, I think they'd be lucky to be 500. That's why we at BKB have projected them to finish third in the AL Central at 74 and 88.
All right. Well, I guess that's about all I can say about them.
We dragged it on. This is our longest episode about the White Sox of all the teams, man. What do you think?
Honestly, lots of times I will watch my favorite one or two teams that I have, and then I'll listen to them or Cleveland on the radio at the same time. Who knows? As a kid, they were on the radio, so I like them. I like them both.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Yeah, well, without further ado, the White Sox, hopefully they got some better years in front. Maybe start drafting a little bit better. But, again, not a good season upcoming in Chicago. I think the division, there's two teams at the top here, which we'll talk about tomorrow. I think tomorrow we're going to be talking about the Cleveland Guardians, so make sure to stop by and listen there.
Like them.
But John, let's do the sign off.
Best manager in baseball.
I'll let you do the sign off.
All right, that's all for now, folks. See you next time on Brooks Knows Baseball. Good night, John Boy.